Hi, welcome, and I hope you're doing well. This video here I'll be doing an iPad mini 3 screen replacement and the LCD as well. So here you can see that I have a damaged Retina Display LCD. At the same time I do have a cracked digitizer. So let me turn it around and show you the model here. This model here is A1600 and the 1600 is an iPad mini 3rd generation. So this is my new screen for the LCD. I'll be replacing with that, and at the same time I'll be replacing with this screen digitizer. As you can see, the iPad mini 3 has a Touch ID. This is the original Touch ID. I'll try to save this and transfer to the new screen digitizer. If I'm not able to do that, I'll be using a third-party home button. The third-party home button does not give you the Touch ID sensor. You would get a notification and says the home button is not recognizable. But that does not limit the function of the iPad. You still can use the iPad, you still can press the button, but all you can't do is the thumbprint. You can't use the fingerprint to unlock the iPad. You would have to use the passcode to type it in. Alright, so I think I have enough of that explanation. So let me go ahead and turn off the iPad. Press and hold the power button, slide it to turn it off. For this process, you really need to have a safety goggle. Make sure you have some kind of eye protective tool to protect your eye while you're doing this process. The reason because when you're trying to pry open the broken glass, there's a very high chance that those glass would fly into your eyes or get to your face. So make sure you have a safety protection for this repair. I'll be having a prying tool, this prying tool, a Phillips screwdriver, double-sided adhesive tape. So this tape is to glue the glass back together. Alright, so iPad does not have any screw that screws on the glass. They are using the double-sided tape to do that. And of course, I need to have a heat gun, and this heat gun is to heat up the screen. That helps me to remove the cracked glass. Alright, so let's get started. Let me put on my safety goggle, and I'll be having the heat gun. So this heat gun would be heating up the screen here. And I have to warn you, the process is not as simple as the video is going to be, because I have done this for many times, and if you feel like you're not confident to do it, I recommend you to maybe bring it to a local repair shop that repairs the iPad, and get the job done for you. Sometimes you need to be able to determine, is your time worth the money to do it, or maybe a weekend project. So it's all up to you. And a lot of time, looking at a video, watching the tutorial is a lot easier. But once you really hands-on and start doing it, is not that easy. Let's give you a heads up. I'm not trying to disappoint you on this video. I hope that this video give you some kind of guidance, help you while I'm explaining the process, that hopefully that helps you to answer some of your questions. So you can see here right by my headphone auxiliary jack, that jack is, the base is dented inwards. So meaning that I need to rebend the frame, right? Because the frame is dent. So I need to rebend the frame, and so that the new screen can sit on top of it and, you know, have it sit properly, like flush back to the base. Alright, so I get a little bit opening here. So what I'm going to do is, you want to continue warming up the iPad. You see that I'm keep moving my heat gun, so I'm keep moving my heat gun back and forth, back and forth. I'm not trying to stay in one position because the heat gun is really hot, and you try not to heat up too much to damage the internal stuff, right? So you just want it to be warm enough or hot enough to separate the glass. Now for my case, I'm heating a little bit warmer, a little bit hotter. The reason because my LCD screen is damaged, right? So I'm not going to be very careful with the LCD because the LCD screen is already damaged. I'll be replacing with a new one. But for your case might be different. You might have a working LCD that is perfectly fine. So you do not want to heat up so much that it may damage or discolor your LCD. Okay, so you just want to heat just enough for you to soften the glue, the double-sided tape glue, and get your repair done. Okay. So my iPad here is the Wi-Fi. Sorry, not the Wi-Fi. The antenna plus Wi-Fi. So this one has a data plan on it. So as you can see, this two little black stuff here is actually the what do you call that? What I'm trying to say. You know, the data. The data plan from your AT&T or Verizon, the service for the mobile, and that's what the antenna is for. And this iPad here also has the Wi-Fi capability. Alright, so far so good on the top side of it. And as you can see, this all broken glass is trying to stick everywhere. So the double-sided tape is very sticky, and now you can see that I have broken glasses. I always like to have a good working environment. So once you have the broken glasses around the table, just kind of clean it, wipe it down. Alright, you want to come back here again and try to heat it up here. You see how I'm heating up the iPad the same time I'm lifting it up on the other hand. So it's just kind of like you're warming up the tape the same time you're lifting up the iPad screen. Alright, so there we have it. And here is the magnet. Let's make sure you save the magnet. We're going to transfer it to the new screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is try to remove this tape before it get hardened again. because my AC is blowing this direction, so you can get that. Alright, so at this point here, my screen is detached and looking good, and this is the LCD. So you can see that the LCD right here where the damage is. So for your case, make sure you do not touch the LCD, because once you have the thing touch, your fingerprint would be on the screen. So I like to put my gloves on. That's how I avoid from getting any oil or fingerprint on the LCD. But let's just say that, you know, if you happen to touch the LCD for whatever reason, best way to do is to get a tape. What tape I use is the magic tape. I think that's what they call the magic tape. Use that, and then, you know, like the TV CSI where you tape the fingerprint, you know, where they try to investigate and tape the fingerprint out. That's what you need to do, is just to tape that fingerprint out if you happen to touch the LCD. Alright, at this point here, what you want to do once you remove the 4 screws, you want to be slowly and gently lift up the LCD. Sorry, before you do that, you see all this cable here, not cable, the plastic. You need to tape, not the plastic, tape. You need to remove it and transfer it back onto, because this tape are special tape. They kind of conduct electric away from the LCD. So make sure you tape it back after. Alright, so lift this one up as well. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to save the tape and then retape it back on the new LCD. Now you may see that I'm very rough to my LCD. That's the reason, because my LCD is already cracked. I'm replacing it, so I can be very rough to it. But again, for your case, you want to be very gentle, and I can tell you the LCD, it cracked very easily. Okay, so do not put much pressure here while you're pulling off the tape. At many times I crack the LCD by putting a lot of pressure, so you have to be very gentle, and the tape is sticky. It stick very hard onto it. Okay, so as you can see, I have separate the tape away from the LCD. Okay, now you do have a bit of a tape here on the top. So the way Apple makes it is difficult for the process of repair. That's how they are, and you just have to slowly work your way around it. Okay, so you kind of like use this prying tool to separate the tape, not the tape, like, but the pressure of being stuck together. So once you have that removed, you can slowly pry open your LCD. And I'll tell you where the pressure points are. So I'm trying to slowly do mine. I mean, I can just rip it off right now entirely on the LCD, but I try not to, and that would not serve the purpose of showing you the video. And this I'm trading this like it's like a brand a working LCD. So right here, the pressure points where here you feel like it's being taped down, and here on the side you can feel like it's being taped down as well. So I'm running through this prying tool to cut that tape so it doesn't stay down on it. Now I'm going on the top. So as you can see, I'm putting some pressure here. I'm cutting it. and it's not as simple as you see for your case, I can tell you that. Okay, so again, this process is very difficult. See how that tape is removed? Okay, and now I have to do on this side of the screen, which you need to cut it. Now once you cut them, you can open it up. Alright, so you open up this way. Let me go ahead and show you where the tapes are. You see how this tape here, as I was cutting it, right? So this angle right here, this tape right here on the screen, hopefully you can see it on the right here. So it tapes down onto the top part of here, right? So it tapes down here on this part. And also, if you can see here on the side, this one right here, there's a little tape that tapes down onto this silver bracket right here. Okay, and on the other side as well. So you can see the tape are still here on the top, and it's taping down here at the bottom on the metal. So you need to have a good angle, and it's kind of go underneath and cut it. So this is not as good. What I usually do, I have another metal plate like this. This is more flimsy, so I go underneath here, right? I'm not trying to go on this side to cut it. Okay, you can go this side to cut it, but sometimes you tilt too much and then you would crack the LCD, right? So if you put too much pressure point like this, you would break the LCD on this part. So I prefer, or the safest way I think to do it, the safest way to do it is you go underneath here and cut it. Alright, so push it down and cut it. So meaning that this part of thing you're cutting here like this on the bottom tape. Alright, same thing on the other side of the LCD. Alright, I think I explained enough on that process. Let's move on. So go ahead and get your Phillips screwdriver and remove the screws. So go ahead and remove this one. Alright, once you have all the screws removed, sorry if I missed the angle on the camera. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and the back plate would just come right out. Okay, so just gonna wiggle, and it'll just come right out like this. So put this on the side. Here you want to come back. What you want to do is remove the screw. So just one here. 2, 3, 4 screws. Okay, once you remove the 4 screws, so the first thing you need to do is to disconnect the battery. So the battery, I think, is this one here. So disconnect this cable, and then now you can disconnect this cable, which is the Touch ID, and then this is the LCD, and this is the LCD, right? And then here is your Digitizer screen. Okay, so the first one bottom here is your battery. So once you disconnect the battery, disconnect your Touch ID here, and then this is the digitizer, and that is your LCD right here on this one. So what I'll do is I will pull this thing out, so this entire thing will just come right out like this without any problem. Okay, and if you want to save the Touch ID, so what we need to do is we need to separate them, right? So follow the cable. I think we can separate them. Hold on, let me investigate on this video. It has been a while since I replaced the iPad 3rd generation. So the bracket, they have this little white glue, if you can see here. So this is like the epoxy glue, like this kind of gel that I'm going to apply on the bracket to hold it down. Okay, so just to show you that, because I have some comment, people are telling me like, oh, why are you doing that? Why are you putting like the crazy glue or the crazy gel onto it? Well, just to hold the bracket, because if you press it so many times, the bracket was gonna come loose, and what happened when the bracket go loose is that the home button would just fall into like inside the iPad. So that's why I need to have the that thing to be glued on. Okay, so looks like the bracket is holding down on that side of it. And let me see if this one can remove. Alright, so here comes the home button. And I'm separating the home button with this. Alright, so here comes the home button and the bracket is here. Let me tuck it underneath. Okay, have the and push this home button out. Alright. So you can see that I saved the original home button cable. To me, it looks pretty good. I don't think I have damaged the cable, so we may able to reuse this original home button. Okay, and here is just a screen digitizer for this one here. And let me look on the new screen here. So if you look at the new screen, we can set up the home button now. So let's go ahead and remove this. Okay, so let's put this on the side. What you want to do is you may want to save this little white piece. This white piece is like a leverage to lift the home button downwards, whichever way it is. You might want to save this. Okay, this white bracket. You can go underneath and then remove it. I think the new screen comes with it, but if it doesn't, save this. And this one here, you can throw it away. Alright, so let me transfer the original home button to this screen here. So the first thing I need to do is to remove this bracket. Okay, we are not using this bracket here. And at the same time, we are not using this home button. But if you do not care about your home button, you want to use the third party instead of the original ones, by all means just leave it as is. But for me, I like to keep mine as original, so I'll be doing that replacement right now. Okay, first thing I need to do is to make sure you peel this thing off. Okay, so there is a film protector on this back of the iPad, so you need to peel it off. Here, I like to do is I like to put a little double-sided tape here, adhesive tape, to cover the sensor. If you look carefully, there is those sensor right here that run across the iPad screen. So I feel like after putting this adhesive tape to cover it up, I do not have this ghost touching the sensor. So it's a choice whether you want to put it or not. I like to put mine, like I said, all my experience when I do a replacement, I feel like if I do not do this, sometimes I get this ghost like touching the screen without me touching it. So just gonna put it right on top of it so that there's no sensor being touched. Alright, I think that's enough of covering the sensor. And the next thing I'll be doing is putting the original home button. So it goes like this on the top. Okay, so I'm gonna come back here and feel the home button. Now, as you can see, well, you can't really see it, but you can feel it. This home button here I can feel like is too much. So meaning that this new screen does not come with the leverage, right? So we save this leverage and we want to put it here. Okay, so now when you put the home button back on, you feel like it's being sit flush. Okay, so if you put it back on, if you touch it, you can feel like the home button is sitting just right, it's flush. Okay, now the goal here, the next goal that we're trying to achieve right now, is to have the bracket to go back on here, right? So the bracket here goes like this, right? There's a little dimple. You see that little dimple here? So this dimple is to align with this little nipple that where the clicker is. Okay, so what I wanted to do is I'll put a very tiny drop of this ultra control epoxy gel. Just a very little. Like a size of a baby booger. I'm running out of the gel, so okay, there you go. Just like a very tiny little size of a baby booger. Okay, because when you push it down, it will squeeze it out. So go ahead and put it back on. Right, make sure you have it in the right position. And then this cable here would go on top of it. Okay, put some pressure, keep holding until the glue dries out. And at the same time, make sure you can feel the clicker is clicking. Alright, so it feels good. When I click it, you can hear the clicker. Alright, so meaning that the temple is aligned with that clicker nipple. How does that sound? The temple is aligned with that clicker nipple. Sounds pretty good. Alright. So I'm trying to press all around the home button, like on the side, the top, the corner. It feels like the alignment is pretty good. Alright, so while I'm pressing it down, putting some pressure while the glue is drying up, and let's go ahead and slowly tape it down on this side of the cable. Alright, so that feels good. Okay, so the next thing I'll be doing while this thing is drying up, right, so we're going to come back here. We want to align this thing. Connect the digitizer cable first. They're just like a Lego. It snaps on. Okay, so once you have that thing pushed in, aligned properly, the next step I'll be doing is to install this LCD cable. Go ahead and push it down. Alright, the next step is this Touch ID connector. And then the battery. Alright, so make sure you press everything down. It feels like a Lego. Once it's in the right position, you press it down, it will snap right back on. Put the bracket. Put your screws back on. Alright, at this point here you can put the back plate. So slide the back plate on one side and then it will fall right back onto the other side. Put a few screws on it just to lock it down first. Or you can put all the screws back on. For my case, I'm just going to put all the screws back on, so bear with me. Oh, I forgot to do one thing. This is just for this video for myself, the repair, but it doesn't apply to you. So what happened is that, remember on the top left corner by the auxiliary jack, the headphone jack, remember the base here, right, is dented. So I need to, it's dent, so I need to fold it back up, and the new screen can sit flush back onto that. So let me go ahead and do that part right now. See, I do not have a proper tool for this process on this one here. I do not have the proper tool for that. So what I'll do is I get this one, and don't do this, you know, like this is not the right way to do it, but again, I do not have the right tool, so I'm just doing this one for now. Sometimes you just have to do what you can do to re-bend the base. and sometimes I have to cut it so that it will sit flush on top of it. This thing is pretty bent, it's not sit even, so if you can see, the bottom part is the whole thing is dented inwards. So there's not much I can do for this iPad, but I just need to do what I can for now to make it flush so that the new screen can sit back on properly. But if you have like if you have a better way to do it, please comment below, let me know. I like to buy the tools and able to re-bend the base. Alright, so far the bend looks okay, and I also cut a bit of a chunk of the base out. Usually I do it right on the edge of the table, but for the filming purpose I can't move the camera, so I'm just gonna leave it as this. Alright, so the new screen got to go back on. Let the new screen sit back. Make sure you fold this the special tape here, well, not the electronic tape, but some kind of a conducting electric tape. Fold it, have the new screen goes back in. Alright, let it sit flush. So once you have this screen sit on properly, make sure you fold this special tape back on, right? And then put the 4 screws. So I'll go and put the screws back on here. Okay, once you have all the 4 screws back onto the LCD, the next part you want to do is make sure you peel off the film. This is the film protector, you need to peel it off. Once you peel it off, I'm just going to fast forward the video for you a little bit. I think this is already reaching up to 40 minutes now. So once you remove this protector, you want to apply this double-sided tape. So this tape here, what you want to do is you just kind of tape it all around the base like this, right? So tape it all around. Make sure you clean the side first. I'm just gonna come back and clean it, but I wanted to show you on the video for now. So once you have all this double-sided tape all around the iPad, then you can go ahead and close the iPad and they will stick back together. Okay, so and at that point you can turn it on, test it out, make sure it works, or you should test it out before you even tape it, right? So you should turn it on, test, make sure the screen is working, make sure your LCD is working before you even put this tape back on, like this. So here on the top left, remember I rebend the base. This rebending the base is to make sure that I can sit the new glass back on because it was dented inwards earlier. Okay, so this is it. I hope that you like the tutorial. I hope that this tutorial helps you, give you some kind of idea on how to repair your mini iPad mini 3. Like again, the process is not easy, it's very difficult. My recommendation is, maybe have somebody to do it. But if you want to try, just take your time, one at a time, slowly, no rush. And I hope you good luck with the success. And if you have any question, comment below. Please like the video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, smash the like button. I really appreciate you for helping the channel to grow. Alright, until next time, I'll make more videos on the repair. Thank you. Bye bye.